Hello, I'm Charles Lane. I'm a plant health consultant at Ferro Science Limited. I've come to the Yorkshire Arboretum today at the invitation of the director to look at some trees that he's concerned about. Assessing the health or the condition of a tree is actually quite a difficult thing to do because unfortunately the symptoms or the damage that you may see at the time of your survey could be caused by pests and diseases, but could also be caused by environmental factors like the weather or cultural factors like the soil condition. And actually it may be a succession of events. So there may have been a late spring frost which has then made the tree more susceptible to pest or disease damage. The other difficult thing is that pests and diseases can be quite difficult to find. Pests are a little bit larger, so you may actually be able to see the adult beetle or insect. But with many of the pathogens which are microscopic, you're not actually physically going to see the organism itself. What you're going to see is the damage and symptoms that it causes. I know from experience that gathering the information in a systematic and consistent way is the best way of trying to identify the cause of poor condition or health of a tree. So as an observatory volunteer, we ask you to gather that information and report it via Tree Alert or Tree Check in Northern Ireland. The systematic approach will look at the identity of the tree, the site and the setting, the history and the distribution. And then we will ask you to go and look at the symptoms or damage in the crown, the branches, the stem and the roots. Once we've gathered all that information and reported it through Tree Alert, then we can review that information. We may need to go back and revisit that tree, so the accurate location and pictures of the symptoms will really help us do that. And then we can decide whether a pest or disease is the possible cause.
Our trees are under threat. In recent years, the UK has seen outbreaks from a number of invasive pests and diseases which have caused irreparable damage to the British countryside. Some of these are now widespread throughout the country, like Dotterstoma needleblight and horse chestnut leaf miner and canker. Others are still only localised, or have yet to be found in certain places. This map clearly shows that these pests and diseases are causing an issue everywhere. They usually arrive here through global trade in live plants, packing materials, or through natural processes such as wind-blown spores across country boundaries. Climate change is also playing a part, with reduced incidence of cold, wet weather in winter, which in the past would have killed emerging larvae that had arrived from warmer climates. Everyone can play their part to protect our trees. This includes those working closely on a day-to-day basis with trees, such as arborists, tree surgeons, forestry and nursery workers, students, and researchers working in universities, scientific institutes and other related areas. And of course, members of the general public, from citizen scientists to dog walkers. All information gathered can be passed on to plant health professionals. Inspectors work with researchers and policymakers to put in place practices that safeguard tree health in the UK. But with over 3 billion trees in the UK alone, your help is needed to further strengthen their surveillance. In Scotland, Wales and England, the statutory bodies responsible for plant biosecurity are all committed to safeguarding tree health. They all work to prevent and control harmful organisms. For example, DEFRA's Plant Biosecurity Strategy for GB to tackle this issue has 3 principles. Keep pests and diseases out if we can. If they get in, eradicate them before they spread and become endemic. And if eradication proves impossible, control and manage them. If you'd like to know more, please go to the plant health portal developed by DEFRA. It is a shared resource providing information about plant pests and diseases. This site links to DEFRA's Plant Biosecurity Strategy for Great Britain. In Northern Ireland, the Department of Agriculture, Environment and Rural Affairs and Forest Service are also committed to protecting their trees. Observatree aims to protect the UK's trees, woods and forest from new pests and diseases, either arriving or spreading across the country. The earlier these are spotted, the higher the chances that outbreaks can be eliminated or controlled, assisting the government in achieving its second principle. The project will focus on a list of pests and diseases which are of highest concern. A UK network of over 200 specialist volunteers undertake a range of surveys to assist with spotting new tree pests and diseases, as well as carrying out surveys for established diseases, such as Cholera ash dieback. Volunteers receive annual training to help with identification and surveying techniques. This series of videos aims to help you assess the condition of a tree and report any suspicious findings through the Tree Alert website. Tree Alert is discussed in the next slide and covers England, Scotland and Wales. For Northern Ireland, Tree Check has been developed, which is a downloadable app and can be used in the field. Tree Check has a way to mark location and upload images whilst you're out surveying. If there is no mobile reception, your phone will store this report and it will be sent next time you start the application. Information will be sent to the Department of Agriculture, Environment and Rural Affairs and the Northern Ireland Forest Service. If you are interested in learning more about plant health in Northern Ireland, you will find links to more information at the end of this video.
Tree Alert is an online tool that was developed by the Forestry Commission and is the only reporting tool in Britain to report pests and diseases on trees. Originally it was created to report Cholera ash dieback, and then it was open to report any pest or disease in any tree. It's important tool for forestry and tree professionals and anybody who has trees or care for trees, and they can report any pest or disease on them. The objective of having this online tool, it was to have like an early warning system, because if we have an early detection of pests and diseases, we will be able to take a prompt action and probably aiming for the good management of this. If you are concerned with the health of a tree and you would like to report it, you can do it by using Tree Alert. You can find Tree Alert either on the Forestry Commission website or easily by typing Tree Alert on an internet search engine, and this will be the landing page. And if you would like to submit a report, you have to click on this link, submit a report, and will take you to the landing page of Tree Alert. Here is the first page. And as you can see, you have 3 different boxes on the front page. The first box is to submit a report on any pest or disease on any tree. The second box here is to submit a report on a specific tree pest or disease that you have seen. And at the moment, there are 5 reporting lines. One is for Cholera dieback of ash. The second one is Dothystroma needle blight, acute oat decline, Phytophthora lateralis, and Asian longhorn beetle or citrus longhorn beetle. The third box here, if you own or manage trees, you can request a diagnosis. This is a chargeable service and is mainly for consultants and professionals, although this third box is here for anybody who would like to use the advisory service. On the right-hand side here, you can find several links that can give you some information when you are submitting your report. Also, I would recommend to create your own account if you are going to use Tree Alert to report pests and diseases. This will save you some time when submitting your reports, because by creating your account, you will type your details only once and they will be remembered in the system.
This series of videos draws on e-learning and online resources developed by Observatree and others. The Observatree website contains a variety of resources that can aid in the assessment of a tree's condition. The Resources tab includes a wealth of information and training on the Observatree priority pests and diseases, as well as other related topics. This information is available to read, download or watch. Observatree have developed a number of materials which can be downloaded and used by anyone who wishes to. This includes a series of posters which focuses on important threats to trees in the UK. These posters have clear images of the pest or disease in question and its signs and symptoms. A large number of detailed field guides are also available, which include information on specific pests and diseases of concern. These include general information about the organism, the harm it causes or the risk it poses, and pictures of signs and symptoms. They also include images of lookalike signs and symptoms that are often mistaken for the pest or disease in question, but are actually caused by something else. For example, the weather, site management, or other organisms, including natives. Observatree have developed a host of videos to increase your knowledge. These include narrated videos focusing on different pests and diseases, recorded webinars on specific pests and diseases, and digital learning, which includes a series of videos on how to accurately record the geographic location of a tree of interest. These videos also provide links to additional YouTube videos, which are related and can help you learn even more about a specific topic. The information portal provides a different route to find all of the Observatree developed resources, as well as links to many other useful materials developed by others. This includes a section on tree health. General plant health has sampling guides, tree identification information, and government plans. Tree Health Citizen Science Project and Initiatives holds information on other projects that you can get involved with alongside Observatree. The Biosecurity section holds resources to help you carry out good biosecurity practice when you're out surveying, including downloadable information such as leaflets and posters. Finally, specific pests and diseases have their own portal where you can find all Observatree developed resources on that particular organism, including identification, management, and research information. This is the place to go if you wish to gain an in-depth knowledge of a particular threat to the UK. To support you in looking out for and reporting any signs of tree disease, Observatree has created several specific toolkits to help you recognise signs and symptoms, as well as document key information. Each kit provides information on the hosts and then provides a number of resources that will help you identify and record the problem, including guides, checklists, and Q&As. A wide range of further information exists on these tree pests and diseases, and signposts and links are provided. Pests and diseases are not the only cause of poor tree condition. From experience, cultural or environmental factors may be the cause of the symptoms, or an important underlying contributory factor. Gathering information about the whole story is really important. By knowing what is good, we can focus down on what might be the possible cause. Symptoms may be due to a range of different causes. For example, a thin crown could be due to drought, soil compaction, deficiency, root disease, stem cankers, or foliar pests and diseases. So knowing that a new path has recently been installed could explain why a tree is struggling to obtain enough water. The first step in the process should be looking at abiotic or non-living causes that could be causing the tree's poor condition and any visible symptoms. We may start by looking around for clues in the soil or surrounding terrain, such as compaction or waterlogging. If we find something that could cause these issues and decide it is likely the culprit, it is less likely the symptoms are due to pests or diseases. If not, maybe we go on to look at environmental factors. What has the weather been doing recently? Has there been an extreme weather event, such as a late frost or a period of drought? Again, if it looks unlikely, we can move on to the possibility of damage being caused by humans or animals. Has there been management in the area? Or has there been an issue with deer or squirrels, which are known to damage trees? Again, if unlikely, we can start thinking about the possibility of the observed symptoms having been caused by a pest or disease. By overlooking or discounting probable causes, we could be making our job a lot harder. so this elimination process is incredibly important and helps us narrow down our options. Knowing what it is not is just as important as knowing what it is. This will be covered in more depth in video number 2, Site and Setting. This video series splits assessing a tree's condition into 6 steps. 1. Firstly, we will look at the tree itself and gain an understanding of the type of information needed to make a good assessment of a tree's condition. 2. Next, we will look at the site and setting of the tree. Quite often, this can give us an indication of what has caused the problem. As well as the severity, it also importantly helps us eliminate abiotic causes. History and distribution can also give valuable clues as to the condition of the tree. Next, we move on to breaking down the tree into manageable areas to inspect, and what signs and symptoms are commonly seen, starting with the crown. 5. Finally, we will then move on to signs and symptoms to look for around the trunk and the root collar.
So I've come to the Yorkshire Arboretum at the invitation of the director to look at some trees that he's concerned about. So I'm just going to have a look at this sorbus tree over here. So looking at these leaves of a sorbus tree, you can see they're quite yellow and there's also some brown necrotic spots on that. There are a variety of different causes for those kind of symptoms. If I look a little bit closer, some of that yellow discoloration has quite a distinct pattern. It has a mosaic pattern. One of the Observatree priority pests and diseases is caused by European mountain ash ring spot virus, so I wonder whether that might be the cause of the problem. But I also know that leaf yellowing and browning can be due to cold damage, it could be due to mites, or it could be due to nutritional problems. So really it is a matter of process of elimination when you're trying to diagnose the cause of a problem. So therefore gathering all that information about the site and the setting, the cultural and the environmental problems will really actually help confirm an accurate identification of a pest or disease.